Alrighty, UFC Abu Dhabi Robert Whittaker versus Reiner de Ritter has taken place, so we move on to the next week. Reiner de Ritter ended up laying his eggs before Robert Whittaker could finish the creature, and it is what it is. I got my predictions right. 7-5 last card, just saying. Alright, if you're looking for picks and predictions, stick around, okay? Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But if you're new around here, I am going to be doing picks and predictions on Tapology. Yeah, I do it every single week because I have passion for the sport. I take my picks very seriously, unless they're a certain type that we'll probably get into. Yeah, we'll definitely be getting into in one of these fights. But, yeah, I take my picks pretty seriously. I'm doing this purely because of passion. Yeah, I got passion for the sport. I'm a fan. I've been watching for about 3 years. That's a rundown. With that being said, let's get into the fucking card, okay? We got 11 fights, by the way, and I'm recording this after the main event has been swapped around. Originally, this was supposed to be Tatsuro versus Amir Al-Bumzi, and now we got Tatsuro versus Hyung Sung Park. Honestly, probably a better main event, if we're just being honest, but yeah, this is probably the bummiest card I've seen, okay? Now, I'm a flyweight defender, but this card is looking a little rough, okay, for the UFC. Not the UFC's greatest moments, okay? You know, this is where people start saying UFC's falling off. But with that being said, let's get into the prediction. Piera Rodriguez versus Ketlin Souza. Alright, so if you're new around here, I do this thing. You know, some people, they use the pick doctor. You know, shout out to We Want Picks, great YouTube channel. Some people use logic and reasoning, you know. MMA gurus, bedtime MMAs. You know the type, you know. But me, personally, I like the tried and true method for my women's fight with the coin flip. Alright, so heads is going to be the woman on the left. Tails is going to be the woman on the right. Let me just bring it up. Flip a coin. Heads left, tails right. We'll wait for this. Flip again. What do we get, baby? Tails. So we got the woman on the right. Who is that? Ketlin Souza. You know, what can I say? She, you know, what do we got here? You know, what can I say? She's a younger fighter. She's Brazilian. Like, I just don't care. These are women fights. I really don't care. So, Ketlin Souza wins this via 29-28. Split decision, classic women MMA fashion. Honestly, with the way cards have been going, with a lot of these shitty fucking cards, and, like, women fights being on them, and then the women just somehow getting a finish, this probably ends in a finish. Via Ketlin Souza fucking doing something. Is she the favorite? She's a slight underdog. Anyways, moving on. Felipe Bunes versus Rafael Estevam. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of these guys I don't remember. A lot of these guys are fucking bums. Okay, these are the bummiest of the bums, the lowest of the low here. Rafael Estevam, Jesus Aguilar. Okay, I believe that's the guy who owns a restaurant. I could be wrong. Charles Johnson. Okay, that's a good win. All right, unanimous decision. How am I not remembering this guy at all? How do I not fucking remember this guy? LF. Oh, by the way, also UFC fan. I don't watch LF. No one cares. Okay. I don't watch Bella. No one asked. Okay. I'm a UFC fan, so a lot of these like other fights I'm not going to be paying attention to. I mainly pay attention to this. Lost by Joshua Van via ground and pound KO. It's aging like a fine wine, let me tell you. Joshua Van, one day will be flyweight champ. But that's a topic for a different video. Yeah, this Felipe Bunes guy does not have a great record. Jose Johnson is like a sneaky underrated win though. Like, Jose Johnson's pretty good. I don't think he's that, like, I don't think Jose Johnson's a bum. Whew. But Rafael hasn't lost. And the Charles Johnson win is better than a Jose Johnson win, you know? But that was a while ago. I'm going to go with Rafael Estevam. Probably decision. Probably boring. What is this? Flyweight? Yeah, flyweight decision. And by boring, it's probably going to be pretty high pace. Pretty high, like, athleticism, you know? Maybe Rafael Estevam's fucking trying to get in the back from standing position, like, real quick. But yeah, I just think Estevan's probably got this in a bag. Better wins. And can't remember Bunes fights to save my life. So, moving on. Rodolfo Vieira versus Tresean Gore. If I remember correctly, yeah, this guy got fraud checked by Andre Petrosky. Oh my god, man. What the fuck are we doing? And Tresean Gore is like Bo Nichols sloppy seconds. Like, what the fuck? Like, god damn, bro. Cody Brundage sloppy seconds. Am I crazy, or wasn't this guy supposed to fight Bo Nickel? Huh. Well, he lost to the great Brian Battle. So, obviously, Tresean Gore gets a lot of respect in my book. I think I picked Tresean Gore in his last fight because I thought, like, he's decent. And he hits hard, man, but he's very unreliable. You know? He's like a slightly lower level. Who's that guy who just lost recently? And he was dominating until he got fucking finished. Fuck. What was his name? I can't fucking remember his name. He fought Brian Battle, eye poke, made a no contest, was getting his ass. Ange Lusa, that's right. Yeah, Tresean Gore reminds me of like a shittier Ange Lusa. Rodolfo Vieira, like, this is just, like, both of these guys were bums, man. What am I supposed to do with, how am I supposed to pick a guy who fucking sucks and lost against a guy who got knocked out via a hip? And then I'm supposed to pick a guy who fucking sucks and can't fucking actually show talent anywhere. Like, this is bum versus bum. Like, who's the worst bum? Fuck, man. Cut both of them. I don't even want to watch this fight. Hopefully this fight falls out. I really don't want to fucking watch this fight. I'm going to go with Tresean Gore. Who did he beat? Armin Petrosyan. Okay, that's not a bad win, but it kind of sucks. He did beat, okay, MMA math. You know, he beat Cody Bumdage. This guy lost to Cody Bumdage. You know. Lost to Chris Curtis. It's not really a bad loss. I reckon this is going to be one of those weird, like, really weird. Tresean Gore gets a flashy KO, and it's like, whoa, you know, like, whoa, Tresean Gore, crazy. And if he doesn't, cut him. Bro, I don't want to see a guy who's 5-4 in the UFC. I mean that genuinely. What the fuck are we doing in the UFC? I don't give a fuck if he's unranked. 5-4 is an unacceptable record to be in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, okay? So, I'm gonna go Tresean Gore. I reckon just fluky KO. I mean, Rodolfo Vieira, like, losing to Petrosky, like, is... Like, recently losing to Petrosky, I think, is also, like, eesh. Like, I know Edmund Shabazian just had a pretty good performance against Petrosky, but... And, like, showcase that Petrosky's kind of tough, but Petrosky is shit. You know? Like, I don't want to get it twisted here just because Petrosky's picking up wins here and there. Petrosky is a bum. Fuck, man. This is a tough one. I'm going with Tresean Gore KO round 1. Moving on. He probably... Like, I just don't care. They're bums. Moving on. Rinya Nakamura versus Nathan Fletcher. Is this the guy who's, like, the Korean pop star who just lost to Muin Gafarov? No, I was thinking of Ray Tatsuria. Yeah, this is the bantamweight, Rinya Nakamura. This guy's pretty good, man. This guy's pretty good. Japanese prospect. You don't see that every day. Nathan Fletcher is aight. He's aight. He's kind of aight everywhere. I think he's got, like, okay... Yikes, losing to Callum Loughran is not a good look. Jesus Christ. If I remember correctly, he's just got, like, okay ground game. But he's one of these guys that I think lose if you can put a pace on him. Rinya Nakamura, I think he's aight. He lost to Muin Gafarov. Gafarov's a pretty good fighter. I mean, I know he's also not really looking the greatest recently, but, you know, like, Jesus Fikes. Yeah, God damn. Like, what are these what fucking alleyway are they finding these fucking fighters? All right, this is like the most they need to fill out contracts card I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rinya Nakamura. I think Rinya's got like the advantage everywhere. Loughran, if I remember correctly, was just able to just survive really anything Nathan Fletcher could do. Nathan Fletcher's not really a dangerous dude either. He's kind of just like a shit fighter. I mean, he's young, to be fair. Will have a reach advantage, which is pretty good. But it didn't really help him because Colin Loughran's a midget. So it's like, I don't know. This one's a tough one to predict. I wouldn't be surprised if like Nathan Fletcher somehow got a win here. Because if I recall correctly, this split was also a lot of people thought Colin lost that fight. Yeah, we'll go Rinya Nakamura decision, probably 30-27. Probably gets the back, probably holds probably backpacks Nathan Fletcher whenever he wants. If I remember, Rinya has like more of like a karate style, and he's a little bit more patient on the feet. He's not really trying to push for something, so I think he's just going to be winning rounds via counter striking, and Nathan's going to get like, I need to get something going here, go for something big, whiff, and probably get his back taken in 2 of the 3 rounds. Yeah, we're going to go with Rinya Nakamura via 30-27, 29-28. Moving on, Nick Klein versus Andrei Puliev. Jesus, these bums, man. Lost to Christian Leroy Duncan. Okay. That was a good fight from Christian Leroy Duncan, if I remember correctly. That was a debut fight. That's kind of interesting. Christian Leroy Duncan's pretty good. Mansour Abdul Malik KO, eh? Oof. Nick Klein, eh? Why do I feel like I've heard this guy's name forever, but this is the like first time I'm breaking down his fight? This one's tough. I mean, they're both coming off losses, both pretty young in their career. Puliev's Russian, though. It's a rough one, I'm going to be honest with you. This might be one of those... It's kind of close both ways, and they give it to Puliev, and everyone just sort of is like, yo, what the fuck, why did they give it to Puliev? And it's clear for certain reasons they gave it to Puliev. Yeah, I think this Christian Leroy Duncan fight, I can't remember too much about it, but I think it was just Christian doing his own thing. I think he struggled like in one of the rounds, but the other 2 rounds are pretty dominant. Wait, this guy... Oh, shit. This guy lost to Abdul. I had it reversed. In my brain, it was like, I thought this guy KO'd Mansour Abdul. Jesus. Mansour Abdul... League. Bro, this is... Like, what the fuck are we doing, UFC? Like, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go with Puliev, and I reckon he wins this via robbery decision in a boring fashion. Maybe holds up Nick Klein against the cage because of size and his heritage. And probably just gets a robbery where everyone's like, oh my god, Nick Klein did more damage. He outlanded him in the rounds. But, you know, Puliev has one round where he's got like four minutes of control time type shit, you know. Don't really care. Moving on, Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos. Finally, Kevin Vallejos is fighting, eh? Coming off his debut where he chinned that guy in a very impressive fashion. Very, very good chinning, by the way. I think it was... I want to say it was an early stoppage, but... Young dude, got a lot of hype around him. Danny Silva ain't a bum, though. This guy's look pretty good, you know? Lucas Almeida, Josh Culibao, you know? I thought he had better wins than those, I'll be honest with you. Danny Silva's pretty good. I think Danny Silva's one of these guys that, like, doesn't quit, I'd say. So he's going to be there for 15 minutes, and you kind of have to, like, switch him off in order to beat him or, like, just outpace him. Kevin Vallejos, I think I'm just going to keep on riding the train. This guy looked good in his debut. I haven't watched his, like, bum series. What the fuck is that? Samurai Jackson fighting organization? What the fuck is that? Anyways, I'm going to go with Kevin Vallejos. Young dude, prospect. I reckon he probably just whoops Danny Silva. By whoops, I just mean dominantly win 3 rounds. This will probably look like a fight where Vallejos doesn't look like a minus 500 and it looks more like a minus 200, you know? But yeah, I'm gonna go Kevin Vallejos via decision. Probably like a relatively entertaining featherweight fight here. Danny Silva is bigger, so that could provide a lot of problems for Kevin Vallejos. I don't think the size is gonna be that crazy, like when they're in the cage, because Vallejos is a thick dude for a 23-year-old. But Vallejos, I think, is gonna showcase, you know, he's good. You know, he's good. But yeah, moving on. Neil Magny versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. I want to say it's dos Santos. I don't know why it's removed here on Tapology. Neil Magny, one of the oldest gatekeepers in UFC history. You know, we love him. The police hate him, let me tell you. All right, with those mugshots. But Neil Magny is kind of just one of these fighters that breaks now, like, very easily. He's gonna be one of these guys that's just weirdly tough and situations he shouldn't be. He's gonna be like weirdly winning fights that he really shouldn't be, like he did against Phil Rowe. But it kind of comes down to, like, do you play Neil Magny's game? I don't know if Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is going to play Neil Magny's game. You know, like the loss to Chidi Njokuani, I know Chidi just got fucking smoked in a round, but Chidi is a dangerous striker, you know? And I was pretty high on Elizeu Zaleski here, and Chidi fucking, he went to war with Elizeu, you know? He was okay with getting hit, swinging back with some big shots. So... very interesting. He did miss weight, though, and that's another thing you got to think about. Chidi, I think he always misses weight. I can't think of a fight in welterweight that he hasn't missed weight yet. I'm pretty sure he missed weight for this. You guys are two unks. Battle of the unks. Ooh. I am, like... I kind of want to go Neil. I kind of want to go Neil, but, like... I do think Neil just breaks to any danger strikes. And Elizeu in the first round is very good. Like, very, very good. You know? But is life going to be cruel enough to have Neil Magny get KO'd 3 times back to back? And this guy's, you know, he's a good worker. You know what I mean? Like, this guy takes fights very often. You know? 3 months out from getting KO'd, he comes back, gets smoked in the first round, to be fair. But he did survive a while, though, and that was a young Carlos Prates. Like, this is the thing, man. This is hard. This is hard. Because Elizeu also isn't like this crazy guy. There's just moments where he looks very, very good. But there's moments where he looks very breakable. But I don't think Neil Magny can break anyone anymore. Like, I think to beat Neil Magny, you gotta be, like, a young prospect. I just don't think unks can beat Neil Magny. That's the problem. You know? Like, Neil Magny, I think, could honestly beat Gilbert Burns at this point. Oddly enough. Like, weirdly beat Gilbert Burns at 29-28. You know? Stuffing the takedowns. Like, that's the type of fighter I think Neil Magny is. I think I'm gonna go with... It has been 8 months, though. Like, he's recovered his chin. 4 months away from getting KO'd? That was a pretty bad KO, too. Do I do it? Fuck, man. I like Zaleski, though. He's fucking... He's getting after it in round 1, man. I hate this, bro. I fucking hate this. I'm going to go Neil Magny. I think Neil Magny's going to win a 29-28 here. Lose the first, win the second and third via surviving. If there's one thing Neil Magny is good at, he's good at surviving. You know, I think you got to, like, switch him off. Or get him to a point where you think you're going to switch him off, you know? Or he thinks he's about to get switched off. I just don't think... Like, Zaleski can get it done in round 1. And if he can't get it done in round 1, I think Magny's going to barely win round 2 and 3. You know? I'm going to go with the underdog in Magny, man. I don't think Magny still... Like, he's not one of these unks that still got it. I think he's just barely good enough to survive. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. Because people forget, man. Neil Magny was ranked not that long ago. Anyways, moving on. Carol Rosa versus Nora Cornoli. Heads on the left, tails on the right. Don't give a fuck about women's MMA. Tails. Heads on the left, tails on the right. We're going with Nora Cornoli here. Another underdog. Fuck. You know, what can I say? She's got physicality, and she wins a split decision. Moving on, Esteban Ribovic versus Elvis Brenner. We get to see Fight of the Year contender from last year come back, Esteban Ribovic, and not get robbed against fucking, who was it, Naimov that robbed them? Nasrat Hakparas. I fucking mixed them all together. The Muin Gafurov, fucking Nasrat Hakparas, and fucking the other one. But yeah. Anyways, Esteban Ribovic is really fucking good. I do think he's pillow-fisted. I don't think he actually has this crazy power, but he is technically good. His boxing's great. His takedown defense is aight. It's aight. You know, it could use some work there, I guess. But I do think he's just gonna piece up Elvis Brenner. I think Elvis Brenner's probably panic in round 1 and shoot like a double leg. Probably gets it for about a minute, 2 minutes. And then I think Esteban survives. We get like a big moment at the end. Elvis, I feel like Elvis gets cut a lot in his fights, you know? Joel Alvarez, Mike Debek, Orobai, like, these aren't bad losses to have, obviously, but I feel like Elvis Brenner always gets a really bad cut, like, on his face. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but I think towards the end of the first round, Elvis Brenner's gonna have a nasty cut somewhere on his face, and then early in round 2, Alvarez is gonna be, like, not responding to damage well, and Esteban's gonna be ripping to the body, fucking going upstairs. Yeah, I think we're gonna see an improved Esteban Ribovic, and I reckon we get a KO in round 2 here with good old Esteban Ribovic, the Argentine prospect. All right, Elvis Brenner's like not bad anywhere, and he's kind of tough, but I think we're finding out he's not tough enough. You know, like he's tough enough when he's against a lot of these unranked bums. But Esteban Ribovic, I think, is bottom 15 lightweight level. You know? Like, I don't think he's top 10. I don't think he's Fiziev level. You know? I don't think he's Dan Hooker. Like, I don't think he'd win any of those. Well, I think he'd beat a Jim Miller. You know? I think he'd have an interesting fight against Chase Hooper. You know? So, that's kind of where I'd put Esteban Ribovic. Where I think Elvis Brenner would struggle with, like, Terrence McChinney, or who's the guy he just fought? Vishlav Borshev, or Tom Nolan. I think that's the lightweight, right? Is Tom Nolan the lightweight? He's the guy who fought... Fuck. He's an Australian, I know that, but I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Tom Nolan. Regardless, yeah, I think Ribovic is good. I think this is going to be like vintage Ribovic here. I do think he got robbed in his last fight. I thought he clearly won that 2-1. You know, I get there might have been an argument for Nasrat Hakparas, but I thought Esteban won that. So I think we're gonna see Ribovic probably win round 1 after like Elvis Brenner gets a minute of control time, maybe 2 minutes of control time, either holding him against the cage or anything. Because Elvis Brenner is a little tinier. You know, he's not like, maybe it's just his reach, but yeah, he's not like that thick for lightweight. But yeah, Esteban Ribovic, that's my pick. Moving on, we have Chris Duncan versus Mateusz Rebecki. God, I love this fucking dude, Rebecki. He has bloody fucking wars. He is an absolute scrap artist, alright? Some people, you have like striking phenoms and everything, bro. Mateusz Rebecki's a fucking scrappy artist, alright? This guy will have a bloody war with you, fucking standing and wrestling. Like, it's crazy. He sets a crazy pace. Yes, last win against Orobai. That's like a Fight of the Year contender as well. I don't think that won it, but I think that was Fight of the Year contender last year. God, this guy's fucking good. And I picked him, alright? So a little bit of self-glaze here, but I did pick Mateusz Rebecki here to beat Orobai. Chris Duncan's fucking good. Like, really, really good. You know? Losing to Torres, kind of, But everything, like Jordan Vucenic win, Balaji Oki win, I think both of these are the same submissions. Guillotine, yeah, both guillotines. You know, Ashmuz, good win-ish, you know. And Omar Morales, like, not the craziest one, but Chris Duncan is fucking good. And when I say good, his striking is okay. Like, it's pretty, it's okay, you know. He's got good speed, he's got a good stance. Defensively striking responsible, he's not really there. But when we're talking about, like, good, his strength is whenever he can latch up a sub. We're talking, like, front ninja chokes. We're talking, bro, any choke is in the land of Chris Duncan, okay? You're in his territory when you're on the ground. Rebecki is a wrestler, or is a good wrestler, and he's a good striker, but if this makes it to the ground for even a minute, I think Chris Duncan finds a sub. Like, lays him out flat, goes to position. Like, Chris Duncan is technically very fast. Like, he's very fast when he's on the ground. Not like a Tyra, where he's on there and he's slowly moving to try to, like, get a armbar sort of set up, you know? Or he's not like Fluffy Hernandez, where he'll ride you out and sort of threaten a sub, or Asu Almabayev, where they'll threaten a face crank but never really do it. Chris Duncan will latch in a guillotine within a millisecond, okay? He'll latch in that fucking ninja choke real fast. So as much as I like Rebecki, and I did pick him to beat Oralby, I am going to go with Chris Duncan here. And I just think for Rebecki to win this, he needs to keep it safe on the ground and keep it competitive on the feet, which he can do on the feet. But at some point, I think he's got a smaller reach. Yeah, 66 inches of reach. Like, that's the big worry here, man. Like, he's tiny, and he's got to get in there. Bro, 5'7", bro, this guy's tiny. Skill for skill, overall, Rebecki's slightly better, I'd say. But Chris Duncan, I think, just excels where Rebecki's going to need the fight to go at some point. You know? Because if Chris Duncan is winning the striking exchanges in round 1, Rebecki needs to initiate, like, wrestling or something. There's always going to be that, oh shit, he might guillotine me. Oh shit, he's going for the guillotine, you know, jumps guillotine. Chris Duncan could jump guillotine, and he's one of those fighters where it's like, oh shit, you know? Like, the Juliana Rosas and shit, when they jump guillotine, you're like, oh shit, you know? But when it's like a fucking Paulo Costa, you're obviously like, you're a fucking moron, you know? Or someone like that. But Chris Duncan is the type of dude to pull off a guillotine if he jumps it. I think this could look a lot like... Oof. This could look a lot like Esteban Ribovics versus Daniel Zellhuber, but almost reverse, whereas like Chris Duncan's the taller, longer dude who's going to be initiating everything, and Rebecki's going to be like on the back foot, trying to find entries in, can't really find it, and sort of slowly gets like peppered away, you know? So I think Rebecki's going to get hurt at some point, and he's going to try to go for a takedown in round 1. I think he might be able to survive round 1 as far as like not getting subbed, but I think in round 2 is where we're going to see Chris Duncan latch in something. Like, Rebecki's going to be a little bit more tired, and while he does set a good pace, he might get a little too sloppy here, you know? He does also wear damage. That's another thing, you know? So, this is going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see how this fight pulls off. But, yeah. I'm going to be rooting for Chris Duncan. I don't mind Rebecki winning this. I do like Rebecki. I just think this is like the one time where it's like, bro, Chris Duncan, he's kind of the fire type to Rebecki's grass type. You know what I mean? Like, this, he's got the super effective moves in the bag, you know? So, I kind of lean towards Chris Duncan here. I don't know why Mateusz Rebecki's this big of a favorite. I get it. He just had a great performance against Oralby. I don't think Oralby is that fucking good. But with that being said, we move on to the main event. All right. Tatsuro Taira versus Hyung Sung Park, the new main event. Tatsuro Taira is coming off a loss to Brandon Royval, first 5-round fight. This is now second, I believe. Tatsuro Taira is fucking good. Really good grappler. Hyung Sung Park, if I'm not mistaken, just beat Nate the Train? Carlos Hernandez. This is a different dude. Okay, I was mixing them up. I'm not racist, I promised. Hyung Sung Park. short notice after beating Carlos Hernandez, eh? That was a good win. That was a good win. He latched up that rear naked pretty fast. On a guy I was pretty, like, happy with his grappling. And then he ended up getting subbed. Okay, but, yeah, Hung Sung Park looked really good in his last performance. Listen, he's 10, like, this is a good fight because it is, like, 10-0 versus 16-1. And if you think the Brandon Royval fight was a robbery, which it wasn't, but you can think that, I guess. Because we're just supposed to accept everyone thinking split decisions are robberies these days. But I'm going to go with Tatsuro Taira via decision. Playing this fight in my head. Sorry, I'm running through the statistics here. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be Tatsuro Taira by decision. I don't mind Tatsuro Taira getting a finish here. Tatsuro Taira is really good everywhere. Sorry, he's good everywhere. He's not great anywhere, but he's young enough to improve in those areas to, like, skyrocket his sort of success. So that's why he's probably always going to be in the mix for the title contender. I just don't like this short notice, week of Hyung Sung Park step up short notice. I don't like this, because fighting an unranked flyweight is, you know, that's that. And if this was like Matt Chanel on short notice, sure. If this was Jimmy Fleck, sure. But this is Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira is pretty fucking good, you know? I don't think he's got like one punch KO power, but if he hits you enough, he's gonna KO you. I don't think he's got latch up a rear naked choke instantly, Pantoja Kaya Sakura style, but I do think if he's on your back long enough, he will find that submission. Brandon Royval was just, he took the necessary risks to get out of dangerous positions. He let Tatsuro get to the back a few times so that he could scramble for a leg and then, you know, go out from the bottom. I don't think Hyung Sung Park's going to be doing that. I think if Tatsuro Taira gets the back, we're going to be looking at rounds where Tatsuro's got 4 minutes of control time. You know, so I think Tatsuro Taira's just going to be slightly better everywhere, on the feet, on the ground. He's got a little bit more power. He's a little bit younger, more likely to improve from his last fight, because that was like vintage Brandon Royval. I picked Brandon Royval to beat Tatsuro Taira, by the way. Just saying. So, you know, if you're looking for picks and predictions, hit that subscribe button, just saying. But yeah, I think Tatsuro Taira is winning this one. I just think he's going to be a little bit better everywhere, you know? There's not odds for this fight yet. I imagine Hyung Sung Park is going to be like a crazy underdog. I just can't see, I get it, he's 10-0, but I can't see like where he wins here, you know? Like I just can't see Taira getting chinned randomly. I can't see Taira getting his back taken and fucking subbed. You know, maybe his back gets taken at one point, but I think Tatsuro's smart enough to reverse position shit. Especially if we're talking, like, first 2 rounds, Tatsuro's probably going to be live for a sub. I think once we get to round 3, 4, and 5, it's just going to be they're too sweaty and sloppy to really get, like, a sub going. So, I'm kind of high on Tatsuro Taira this week. I don't see how he loses this one. And I think once he wins, we're going to get a classic. So happy, thank you, from good old Tatsuro Taira. So I think Tatsuro Taira gets this one via, honestly, probably a 5-round domination, maybe 4-1. But yeah, I think Tatsuro Taira wins this fight. That has been my picks and predictions for the whole main event, or for the whole event. This card fucking blows. This is Battle of Bumville. But if you made it all the way to the end of my video, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.